Have you ever wondered what happens when an elderly person has no one to care for them? Maybe you're living alone yourself, or you know someone who is. The thought of aging without a strong support system can feel overwhelming, even a little scary. But here's the truth: living alone in your later years doesn't have to mean being unsafe, unprepared, or lonely. With the right steps, you can protect yourself, stay connected, and continue living a full, independent life. Meet Walter. He's 78, widowed, and has been living alone for the past 6 years. His children live out of state, and while they check in when they can, most days he's on his own. Walter is still sharp and independent, but he's starting to notice things. His balance isn't as steady as it used to be. The stairs in his home feel a little steeper, and those phone calls warning him about his unpaid taxes or bank fraud seem to be happening more and more often. Like so many seniors, Walter is beginning to feel the weight of aging alone. But rather than waiting for something bad to happen, he decides to take control of his safety, one step at a time. The first thing Walter does is set up a daily check-in system. One of the biggest risks for seniors living alone is a medical emergency that goes unnoticed. Falls, strokes, or sudden illnesses can happen in an instant, and if no one knows, help may not come in time. So Walter calls his friend Margaret every morning just for a quick chat. If she doesn't hear from him, she knows to check in. He also signs up for an automated check-in service. If he doesn't respond to a daily prompt, it alerts a family member. These small habits provide reassurance that if something ever goes wrong, someone will know. Home security is another priority. While Walter's neighborhood has always felt safe, he knows that being an older person living alone can make him a target. He installs motion sensor lights around his home and upgrades his front door lock to a smart deadbolt. He also adds a security camera to his front porch, giving him the ability to see who's at the door before opening it. But security isn't just about physical safety. It's also about protecting himself from scams. With so many phone and online fraudsters targeting seniors, Walter learns the warning signs of common scams. He follows one simple rule. If someone asks for money, personal information, or pressures him into making a quick decision, he hangs up. No exceptions. Next, Walter tackles one of the biggest dangers for seniors: falls. More than 1 in 4 older adults falls each year, and the consequences can be devastating. So he makes small but powerful changes. He removes loose rugs that could trip him. He installs grab bars in the bathroom and better lighting in the hallway. He also commits to daily balance exercises. Simple things like standing on one foot for a few seconds or slowly rising from a chair without using his hands help keep his legs strong and his stability sharp. These little adjustments aren't just about preventing falls, they're about maintaining confidence and mobility for as long as possible. Walter also knows that emergencies can happen anytime, so he makes sure he's prepared. He puts together an emergency contact list with numbers for his doctor, a neighbor, and his children. He organizes his medications and keeps a week's supply of essentials in an easy-to-reach place. And then he does something many people overlook. He sets up a medical alert system. A simple device he wears on his wrist or around his neck ensures that with the press of a button, he can call for help if he ever needs it. It's a small investment that can make all the difference in a crisis. But staying safe isn't just about physical precautions, it's also about emotional well-being. Walter realizes that loneliness can be just as dangerous as any physical hazard. Social isolation increases the risk of depression, cognitive decline, and even heart disease. So he makes a promise to himself: no more sitting in silence for days at a time. He joins a local senior center where he meets others who share his interests. He starts attending a weekly book club and even picks up a new hobby, painting. He also embraces technology, learning how to use video calls to stay connected with his family. These small changes help keep his mind active, his spirits high, and his heart full. Aging alone doesn't have to mean living in fear or uncertainty. It's about taking small, proactive steps that ensure safety, security, and connection. Just like Walter, you have the power to protect yourself and continue living independently with confidence. Set up a check-in system, strengthen your home security, reduce fall risks, prepare for emergencies, and most importantly, stay socially engaged. Because while you may live alone, you are never truly alone when you take charge of your well-being. Walter also knows that staying safe isn't just about preventing accidents. It's about being prepared for the unexpected. One day he hears about a neighbor who had a power outage and struggled to find a flashlight. That's when Walter decides to put together an emergency kit. He includes essentials like bottled water, non-perishable food, a flashlight with extra batteries, a portable phone charger, and a whistle. He keeps it in a place where he can reach it easily, even in the dark. It's a small effort, but one that gives him peace of mind, knowing he's ready for anything. His next step is organizing his medical information if he ever needs emergency care. He doesn't want to waste time searching for paperwork. He puts all his important medical records, medication lists, and doctor's contact information in a folder and leaves it in a visible spot in his home. He also carries a small card in his wallet with his emergency contacts and any medical conditions, just in case something happens while he's out. These little details could be the difference between quick, effective treatment and a dangerous delay. Walter's biggest challenge isn't physical safety, though it's loneliness. The house is too quiet, the days feel long. It's easy to slip into a routine of isolation, and he knows that's not healthy. So he takes a step that's a little outside his comfort zone. He starts volunteering at a local community center. At first, he's nervous. He wonders if he'll fit in, if he'll have anything to offer. But after just a few visits, he feels a renewed sense of purpose. He's helping others, but he's also helping himself. The conversations, the smiles, the simple act of being part of something, it fills the empty spaces in his days. He also reconnects with an old friend he hasn't spoken to in years. He picks up the phone, makes the call, and before he knows it, they're reminiscing, laughing, making plans to grab coffee. It reminds him that relationships don't fade unless you let them. A simple phone call can turn into an afternoon together, and an afternoon can turn into a habit of staying connected. But Walter doesn't stop there. He explores new ways to keep his mind sharp. He downloads a language learning app and spends 10 minutes a day practicing French, something he always wanted to do but never made time for. He starts doing crossword puzzles again, challenging himself to keep his brain active. He even looks into a senior exercise class, something that combines movement with social interaction. Every small action builds upon the last, creating a life that's not just safe but meaningful. Aging alone isn't about waiting for life to happen. It's about making choices that shape the kind of life you want. It's about recognizing risks before they become problems, about finding ways to stay engaged, about embracing the tools that make independent living easier. Walter isn't waiting for someone to come and take care of him. He's taking care of himself. And in doing so, he's proving that independence doesn't mean isolation, and aging alone doesn't mean being unprotected. Walter's world begins to change, not because of luck or circumstances, but because he takes action. Every decision he makes, installing brighter lights, wearing a medical alert device, checking in with a friend, creates a stronger foundation for his independence. He wakes up each day with a sense of security, knowing that if something goes wrong, he has a plan. And that peace of mind makes all the difference. One evening, as he's settling in to read, he hears a noise outside. In the past, this might have made him nervous, but now, his security cameras give him an instant view of his front porch, and his reinforced locks make him feel safe inside his home. He glances at his phone, where his children have sent him a few messages, reminding him that even though they live far away, he's never truly alone. As the days pass, Walter notices something unexpected. He feels lighter, not just physically, but mentally. He used to worry about the what-ifs, the uncertainty of living alone. But now, instead of fearing the future, he's shaping it. His new habits aren't just about preventing bad things from happening. They're about building a life that feels good. He's eating better, staying active, and keeping his mind engaged. He's not just existing in his home, he's thriving in it. One afternoon, as he sits outside, enjoying the fresh air, he watches a neighbor struggling to carry groceries up their front steps. Without hesitation, he gets up and helps. It's a small act, but it reminds him of something important. Just because he's preparing for his own well-being doesn't mean he can't be there for others. In fact, the stronger and safer he feels, the more he can offer the world around him. There's a shift happening inside him, a realization that independence isn't just about doing everything alone. It's about knowing when to ask for help, when to accept support, and when to offer it in return. It's about using technology, community, and simple routines to make life not just safer, but richer. It's about embracing the changes that come with aging, not resisting them. One day, Walter receives a call from his daughter. She asks if he'd consider moving closer to family, worried that he might need more support in the coming years. He smiles, appreciating the concern, but he's not in a rush to leave the home he loves. He tells her about all the steps he's taken, how much safer and more connected he feels, how he's built a routine that works for him. She's relieved, knowing that her father isn't just getting by, he's living with intention. As the sun sets outside his window, Walter reflects on everything he's done. He realizes that aging alone doesn't mean aging without security, without connection, without purpose. It's not about fear, it's about preparation. It's not about isolation, it's about finding ways to stay engaged. He's proof that living alone in your later years doesn't mean being vulnerable. It means having the freedom to design a life that is safe, fulfilling, and entirely your own. And so, as Walter settles in for the night, he feels something he hasn't felt in a long time: peace. The kind that comes from knowing he has taken control of his life, that he's not waiting for a problem to arise before addressing it. He's no longer living with uncertainty, wondering if he'll be okay if something goes wrong. He knows he will, because he's built a life where safety, connection, and purpose all work together. His days are no longer filled with long stretches of silence. His phone rings more often, not just from family, but from the friends he's made at the senior center, the neighbor he helped with groceries, the book club he joined. He's learning that being independent doesn't mean being alone, that safety isn't about avoiding risks, but planning for them, and that every step he takes to protect himself is also a step toward a fuller, richer life. He no longer sees his home as a place filled with potential dangers, but as a place of comfort. The security measures he's put in place make it easy for him to sleep soundly, knowing he's protected. The medical alert device isn't a reminder of his age, but a reassurance that help is always within reach. The fall prevention steps aren't a sign of weakness, but a strategy that allows him to move freely without fear. He's removed the uncertainty and with it the weight that so many people carry when they think about aging alone. One morning, Walter looks in the mirror and sees something different in his reflection. A man who is not afraid of getting older. A man who has taken charge of his well-being. A man who knows that living alone doesn't mean being unprotected. He smiles to himself, thinking of all the people in his position who might feel lost, overwhelmed, or unsure of what to do next. If only they knew that a few simple steps could change everything. Because the truth is, aging alone doesn't have to be a struggle. It doesn't mean you have to live in fear of what could happen. With a plan in place, with security measures, daily check-ins, a commitment to staying active, and a focus on meaningful connections, you can live independently with confidence. You can build a life that feels safe, fulfilling, and completely your own. So if you're living alone or you know someone who is, don't wait for a crisis to take action. Start today. Take small steps, one at a time, just like Walter did, because independence isn't just about living alone, it's about living well. Walter's story is not unique. Every day, millions of seniors find themselves in similar situations, wondering how to navigate the challenges of living alone while staying safe and independent. The truth is, it's not about waiting for someone else to step in. It's about taking action, making decisions that put safety and well-being at the forefront. The more you prepare, the more freedom you gain. The more you put safeguards in place, the less you have to worry about what ifs. And the more you connect with others, the less isolated life becomes. It starts with awareness, with recognizing the risks before they become real problems. A fall that never happens because grab bars were installed. A scam that never succeeds because you knew the signs. A medical emergency that doesn't turn into a tragedy because you had a way to call for help. These are the moments that define independence, not just being able to live alone, but being able to live alone with confidence. Walter no longer feels the quiet weight of loneliness pressing in on him. He has built a network of people who check in, friends who look forward to his company, activities that bring him joy. The television no longer fills the silence. His days are filled with conversations, laughter, and plans for the future. He is living proof that it's never too late to take control of your safety, your well-being, and your happiness. Imagine what your life could look like if you took those same steps. Imagine the peace of mind that comes with knowing your home is secure, your health is prioritized, and your social life is thriving. Imagine the confidence of waking up each day without the fear of what if. You have the power to create that life just as Walter did. It's not about big dramatic changes. It's about small, consistent choices that add up to a life that feels safe, fulfilling, and truly yours. Because the reality is, aging alone doesn't mean facing the world without support. It means designing a life where support is built into every choice you make. It means having systems in place so that you are never truly alone, even if you live by yourself. It means acknowledging the challenges, but meeting them with preparation instead of fear. This isn't about surrendering independence. It's about strengthening it. So whether you're just starting to think about your future or already living alone, now's the time to take action. Secure your home, put a check-in system in place, reduce fall risks, prepare for emergencies, and most importantly, nurture your connections. Because the greatest protection isn't just in security cameras or grab bars, it's in knowing that you are valued, that you are connected, that your life is still full of meaning and purpose. Walter doesn't think of himself as just an elderly man living alone anymore. He is a person in charge of his own destiny. His home is his safe haven, not a place of worry. His days are filled with purpose, not just routine. He has replaced fear with confidence, isolation with connection, and he knows deep in his heart that living alone doesn't mean being unprotected. It means being prepared, being proactive, and embracing every day with the strength that comes from knowing he is in control. Aging alone doesn't mean being vulnerable. It means taking the right steps to ensure your safety, security, and well-being. Independence isn't about doing everything alone. It's about making smart choices that allow you to live with confidence. Whether it's installing a security system, setting up a daily check-in, preventing falls, or staying socially connected, every small action builds a foundation for a life that is not just safe but fulfilling. You have the power to shape your future just like Walter did. You don't have to live in fear of what could happen. You can prepare, protect yourself, and create a life that is both independent and secure. Living alone doesn't mean being isolated. It means designing a life where support, connection, and purpose are built into every choice you make. So take that first step today. Make one change, then another, because independence isn't just about where you live. It's about how you live. And with the right plan, you can live with confidence, security, and peace of mind, knowing that your best years are still ahead.